put one person on this as a, so that would automatically cost.
Yeah, that's the categorical and qualification. So the system treats it as such.
Has to do with if we go back and look at the client info screen right here, there's a number assigned to the client called a WAP priority or WAP rank. And so this is how that number gets generated, is basically, so it basically has points for children under 0 to 12 or greater than 60, total full points. For disability, you get a point. The total number of occupants in the household, you get points for that, up to 5 points for 9+ in the hospital, than the occupants in the house. So there are, you do get points for waiting. So if you look right here, there are points in here for the wait time. But you'll notice that that's only a small portion of the overall ranking calculation. It's the waiting time. That's not a huge element in there. And then there's the calculation to determine the energy burden, which is the energy burden. Again, you get points. So you can see again, because the DOE has changed their priorities, there's a much higher emphasis put on up to 6 points if you have a very high energy burden. So that's actually at a higher weighting actually than wait time. The other thing is the poverty level also still though has a high value to it. So if you're under 100%, you get 6 points. If you're under 75%, you get 8 points. If you're above the 150, you don't get any points. Because remember that the new eligibility requirement allows you to go up to 200% of poverty level. But in the priority ranking, if you really only get your priority is based on your energy burden. If you're not, if you don't have if you're not under 200%. So that was just what we thought we would do.
What's the priority range? Evidently it's not 1 to 10.
No, it can get fairly large. Again, it's a you get points, and therefore if you had a large household with high energy use and low, I think it can get up to about 37, 38 points or something like that. If you had a big household with disabled family members and young children and were under 75% of the poverty level and was 35% energy burden, I think you'd end up with like 30 points or something. It can get fairly large. Normally it's in the 3 to 7 to 10 range. That's kind of what we've been seeing. And we need to tweak that number. We've seen there's been a couple of glitches with the number still. We're still tweaking the formula in the software so that it works right. We actually have seen where we've increased the energy burden and the RAP rank went down. It should go up. So we got a glitch in there that we got to fix before we go into production. So what I'd like to do now is just back up again and go back to let's see, go back. Go back to the workflow and just back up and let everybody start again and try to add another new client. Just kind of on your own without necessarily watching me go through it. Just walk through the process of adding a client from scratch. So you're gonna start out, and the printer didn't run out of paper or anything. Right. You want to go Actually, we want to go all the way back to the main menu. No, it didn't, I don't think. So if it didn't, then, just two. These are just the two. These are kind of two overview sheets that might help as a reminder of where you want to be. And what we've got here is the two menus that we're primarily concerned with, which is the client, or the main menu, and then the client menu. I don't know if I printed out enough of these. Yeah, she got a bunch more. Printed out 30. How many pieces do we have? Okay, so we should have enough. So what's going around right now is a little are these two sheets right here. That kind of might give you a little bit of help. It's kind of, one is a sheet that shows the two primary menus, the client menu, and then the main menu, and then the client intake menu. With a couple little pointers as to where you might want to be in the various menus depending on what you want to do. So what we're going to be doing is we want to manage a client, and the thing we want to do is add a client. So we're going to start out back at the main menu. So you want to be back at the main menu. And pick add a client. As soon as you pick add client, it's going to bring up the form to fill in the initial client information. And then as soon as you save that initial client information, it's going to change you over into this menu, which is the client intake menu. So you're going to start out on the main menu, going to add client and adding a client. And then we're going to go then we're going to switch over to the client menu and actually process the menu. And the second page is that we handed out is just the process in words. So you should now have a copy of this, and it basically talks about how do you start doing a WAP job. How do you start adding a client and working through the process. So this is the thing in words, and you should now have a copy of that. And again, this is just a little reminder sheet as to where you might want to be. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand, and I'll come by, or Tony can come by and help. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm on the second screen. Where on the left hand it says client info, fuel usage, family income documents.
Mm-hmm.
It's the client name. Her name's Jolly, last name's Rancher.
Right.
If I wanted to add another family member, would I go to client info?
That you go to family.
Family. That's what I
to
thought.
add a family
Okay.
member.
Okay, that's all.
So what you want to do is you're going to add the initial information for the initial intake from the main menu by picking add client. As soon as you do that and save that, you'll switch over to this one, and then it's really you basically can just follow the sequence on the menu. So you can set up a fuel usage. Again, we'll be doing usage either by a dollar volume or a value or a volume, fuel volume. You'll want to add family records. Generally, if you have the family detail, the word from the DOE is the more information we can capture, the happier they will be. So if we can capture the demographic, the detailed demographic information using the family record, they're actually a lot happier, and we like to keep them happy. I probably timed out here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go log back in.